In this series of videos, we'll be taking familiar features in Control and do a deeper dive into how to work with them, show you some examples, and also we'll try to reconstruct some of the effects or layouts with it live right here. So today we'll cover advanced hover effects, and I think for hovers we'll have 4 different examples, and we'll have 4 videos covering each of those examples, and this one is the video number 1. So let me show you our examples. So first one, we have a page here, and we have very simple and yet cool hover effect where you can have a default image and then you can hover on the text and the image will change somewhere on your screen. Second one is also pretty cool, where you have images appearing on as you hover your mouse around the screen. Also pretty cool one. Third one is for arranging cards with your posts, so you can have some overlay color and some title which can disappear or appear on hover, it doesn't really matter. And the last one is this one. It's been pretty popular online, I've seen it in a bunch of websites, and you can hover on the text and have image also appear in a random position of your page. So what we have here we have the staging where we preview our effects. We'll also have an editor page where I'll show you those effects, how those effects look in the editor. And we also have a third page called Sandbox, where we'll be trying to experiment on the go, and I'll be showing you some of the features here. So let's start with the first one. So first effect, basically all of those effects are done with using our interactions feature. We have a bunch of other tutorials on interactions, so if you know nothing about interactions, you can start there, or you can follow along. We'll cover the basics here. So what's happening here is we go to our interactions panel, and we have quite a lot of interactions here because all of those effects are interactions. But I will click on this interaction here, and I can preview it. So basically we have default state and state number 2, and in default state we see nothing on the right, and on the state number 2 we see an image. And what we can see in the panel, that here we have 2 elements that take part in our interaction. We have an image and we also have a rectangle. So what is this rectangle about? And we don't even have a text. So what's happening here is, instead of using, although it feels like I'm using text as a hoverable element, in this example I use invisible rectangle as a hoverable area because it's a bit more user-friendly, and once you hover, the interaction appears. So let's go to the sandbox and try to recreate this effect ourselves. So to do that, we will need some text, like just like that, and we can use text as a hoverable area as well if you want, especially with larger text, it works great. But for our example, we'll have our hoverable area. We'll define it just like that, and we can turn color to, let's turn it to gray, so we can properly align it with our text. So for example, as we see here, we can put it wherever in the center, and that's going to be our hoverable area. And now we can paint it white. And also let's add an image, so we can use the same image. Just right here, and here is going to be our image. You can really place the image anywhere on your layout, for example here. So that's all the preparations we need. And for other items, like here, for item number 2 or number 3, all we have to do is just to repeat what I'll be showing you right now. So how to do that? We can select our rectangle because it's going to be our main trigger of our interaction. And we'll hit plus sign right here and we'll create an interaction. And let's call it, it's going to be our first one, number 1, hover image. Just like that. So now we have an interaction panel and we can see that both steps look the same. So what we have to do, we have to go to the default state and hide the image. You can decrease its opacity just like that. And you see image just appeared here. So now we have this very basic thing. It's done. So we can go to staging and see how that works. So you see now it works on click. Now it works on click because here we have a click as a trigger, so we can change it to hover, hover in and hover out. Let's go and reload our staging, and now it beautifully works on hover. But we have one problem. You see, when it hovers on the text, nothing happens. Because our interaction understands that every time you hover on the rectangle, the image should appear, but text is blocking our rectangle from view. There are a couple ways we can fix that, but the fastest one and the one we'll be using later with other interactions is this. You can just use this text, right click, select clicks and hovers, and say select never hit through. Just like that. Now if we'll switch, then we see that our hover effect works beautifully and nothing stands in the way of this interaction because the text is disabled and the area is working. If you want, we can restructure this whole thing. Like I can kill this interaction and I can even remove this area and I can maybe make a bigger text. And I can use this text as a hover. For example, now all I need to do, press plus, call it hover text, create an interaction, go to step number 2, select an image, make an opacity, and that's it. Let's go and check our staging. Now, basically, you see, let's see what's going on. Exactly, we can't do anything because our text layer is still on never. Beautiful. So let's just say allow when visible, and also don't forget to check hover in and hover out right here. And now we go back and everything works. So it covers the whole text area and it works just like that. Now you can create multiple of those effects, add another text, add another image on top of that, and they all will work like a charm. So that was the first advanced hover effect in Control.